inspire. Let's be creative. Let us uplift people and give them hope. So let's explore and give opportunities. So let us publish our dreams. So reach out to Dust's Crown. Yeah, publishing. Dust's Crown. Publishing. Publishing. Dust's Crown. Publishing. Yeah. Publishing. Publishing. Dust's Crown. Publishing. Dust's Crown.
So would you or someone you know like to write a children's book? Or maybe you've already written a children's book and you don't know what to do next. This episode is for you. Stay tuned. So before you write that children's book, read as many children's books on that same topic or with similar characters as often and as much as you possibly can. In order to produce good literature, you have to read. Study the characters. Know that the main character, whether it's an animal, whether it's a person or an adult or a child, that person, in order to really gain the audience's attention and following, he or she has to be someone that is compelling and that invites you in. And you want that person to be the hero. So when you have the conflict of the story, this is the person who actually resolves that conflict. So research, read as much as you possibly can, and learn as much about the type of children's book that you're actually trying to write. I encourage you to read lots of bestsellers. Read stories by those who have been in the business or the profession for a long time and who have done very well for many, many years. What are they writing? How are the audiences responding to their works? So make sure you have an actual story. What is the conflict? There should be rising action after that, and then there should be a climax before the story starts to resolve itself. And the main character needs to remain front and center. He or she, the adult or the child or the animal, needs to help solve the story by the end so that they can really garner the audience's attention and develop somewhat of a love and an affinity and a following. So children's books should be sometimes anywhere between 900 to 1200 words. It depends on the actual age range. So be sure to make sure you find out for the age range that you're targeting the number of words that are best. And so they look easy, but they aren't necessarily always easy to write because we tend sometimes to be verbose and to use a lot of details to tell our story. But with a children's book, we need to just keep those words that are very important. So they require a lot of editing, a lot of wordsmithing. But make sure, even though your story has a message, don't preach. Now, if there's any preaching, the main character can do it, but don't like as a narrator preach. Let the main character do it, but keep it limited. Make sure that you use shorter phrases and get right to the point. So again, let the main character or the child or the animal be the hero and resolve the story. Next, think about your budget. How much are you willing to spend? Illustrations for children's books are the main thing. They're very important, and you have to have some great colorful illustrations. So how much is your budget? Because the editing is going to cost, the cover design is going to cost, and the illustrations. Now let's talk about the different types of illustrations. And I am going to actually have pictures captioned here for you to actually see. But here is a layout where the text is on the right and the illustrations are on the left. And that happens throughout the entire book. This is my children's book, Oh to Be a Bulldog. Now, when we get to BJ's Big Dream, however, this is what we call full bleed, where the illustrations cover the entire spread, but the text is somewhere embedded, somewhere there, but it has to be legible, because remember, a lot of these children are new readers. They're learning to read, and so the wording has to be where they're able to read it. So you have to research fonts, you have to research sizes, and you also have to research colors to make sure that what you're printing is going to be useful to developing readers. Now, this is an 8x10 hardcover. This is an 8x10 soft cover. And then this is actually a landscape. So those others were portrait. This is landscape. And this is a 4x6. Now, the landscape books for children's books aren't as popular as the portrait. However, you do find some printers who do the landscape. So that's a possibility for you as well. Now, what kind of characters will you have? Do you want them lifelike, or do you want stick figures? So my children's book, What Is That Stinky Winky Ew Smell, uses stick figures. You can see that those aren't really how people's legs look. They look more like sticks, but just beautiful characters. I've always loved the illustrations. And so you have the mother, and you have the two sisters who are here as well, somewhere in here. They are all stick figures. What is it that you want your characters to look like? So you have to be able to communicate to your illustrator. Don't illustrate it yourself unless you are a very seasoned professional illustrator. Turn that over to someone else. And so when you're communicating with them, you want to share with them the storyline. You want to share with them where the pictures or illustrations will fit in with your text. What size should they be? Should they be landscape or portrait? What types of characters do you want them? Real life? Do you want to show them pictures of actual people that you want the characters to be designed like? Color palettes, textures, what medium will they actually use? And the cover design, that's something that your illustrator, you want to communicate to them what you want on the front of your book as well as on the back, but also let them give you feedback of what they think is going to work best for your children's book. So some books don't just use full bleed, don't just use left text, right picture, or vice versa. Some use different layouts throughout. For example, TJ Bizkid and his Amazing Lemonade Adventure, he uses different sizes throughout. So you can see in this spread, the text is above the picture, but then in some others, you can see that he uses the white page background and the picture on the left, and it just kind of varies throughout the book. Here, the writing or the text is on the left, and then the illustration is on the right. In the other spread, it was vice versa. So it fluctuates throughout the book, and that kind of trains the children's eyes to easily find the text and immediately go to the text to read it. So you have a lot of options. Study, determine what it is that's going to work best for your book, what is going to work best for your age range, and talk with some teachers. Ask them, will these fonts work well for children who are learning to read? Or if it's for intermediate grades, is it going to hold their interest? Children in 4th grade, generally, maybe 3rd, some 2nd graders are already reading chapter books. So who exactly is your children's book for, and how old they are? How old are they? Never, ever, ever publish without having editing. So before anything is actually bound and ready to be printed, make sure that you've employed beta readers who can give you feedback early on. Use children of that age range. Let them know what you're doing and just see how it resonates with them. Are they getting the story? Is it over their heads? Is it too complex? Do they seem to even care or be interested in the story? So have beta readers, possibly of all ages. You do want to include some parents, some teachers, maybe some school media specialists as your beta readers. And then again, don't skip the professional editing. While you may be an English major, while you may be a journalist by profession, that's great, but we can't go it alone. This is a step where we have to employ someone else. Now let's talk about pricing. How much will you charge for your book? Please don't base your pricing on how much you spent possibly to have your book printed, or how much you spent on illustrations or your editing. Price your book so that families can afford your book. Hopefully this is a process for you where you are using your resources, your skills, your talents to share a positive message and to encourage children to read. While families are trying to build up their libraries and have more than 2 or 3 books on their shelf, books should be affordable. And so don't try to recoup all of your funds within the first month or 2. Realize that this is a worthwhile investment that will be there for many, many, many years, and you will continue to reap the benefits of your book over time. But again, make sure that it's priced so that families can afford it. So look at other books that are similar to yours in page count, in genre, age range, and that type thing. Of course, you want to have different prices for a paperback versus a hardback versus a Kindle. And really do your homework when you get ready to do an ebook, because again, print sales still outweigh the ebook market. So just be very careful with that. However, it is an easier way to go as far as getting it published and having it ready to go, and you don't necessarily have to worry about the printing. But again, who is your audience? Who are the parents that will purchase these books, and will they actually put them on tablets or phones for their children, for their online library? Is that more of an investment for them as opposed to the print? So these are just some of the topics that you want to think about as you prepare your children's book. We may go into more detail later about the actual story, writing it, developing it, perfecting it, and really capturing children's attention. If you want more information, visit us at HadassahsCrownPublishing.com. We hope you will follow us, our blogs. We're also on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We love to hear from you. So please comment. Please like this video. Please share it. Please subscribe. We want you to continue to dialogue with us as you come up with ideas for your books, as you write your books, as you publish them. Leave questions in the comment. We love hearing from you. Thank you so much, and happy writing.